Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 8 and Third Reich events. Okay, well, let's get this guy pumping moving here. I don't know, that was a messed up metaphor. Okay, yeah, well, what we want to do here is collect that, but unfortunately we also unloaded our Jaeger units here. Don't know if anything else from this. Let's send these guys. By the time they get here down to here. Okay, now ground crew training. How are we doing? We have our invasion fleet there. Okay, let's see. I think we want to go with that. I'm going to come over here, pick up these Jaegers particularly, but some of the others for invasion of Cuba. Our own Bay of Pigs. So I hope it will go better. Previous unit, command and control. Okay, yeah, we're gonna let those go on. We're getting into this amphibious warfare. No infrastructure there, but send them there. Okay, what are they? Too far away from their headquarters now? No, let's send Rommel. He should be heading this way, so. only have a second. Oh, here. Come along slowly. Kind of division up here. Okay, Hatteras. Sending a few more subunits that had been doing no good out here, a few of them over to the Pacific. They're heading that way. Oh. Damn. Meant to show you. Oh, well, we can still see. Fairly large U.S. contingent here, including a lot of air power, though we've been battling it with our air power. As you can see there, so let's put up even more. We want to put up some naval airstrikes. And go through those rocks. Fortunately, what I thought was just going to continue pushing routed soldiers. The Marines, I don't know if they got supplied somehow or something, but shoot up my light infantry division, so I'm resending the other unit back. That's the one I want selected. So, on board the ship. Yes. Yes. And we might as well also do these guys as well. Now, Havana. It's like the only port in Cuba right now. I do think that's a little under. I think they had a port down here. Of course, this is Guantanamo Bay. I know last episode I ranted about Che Guevara. Gitmo or Guantanamo Bay. The Cuban revolutionary government wants back. Well, it's really just more of a little thing here. Everybody, of course, knows about it in the world because of the prisoner of war camp, and that's what I want to call it, a prisoner of war camp. A lot of people, they're denied their constitutional rights under the U.S. Constitution. Yeah, no. Right after September 11th, the United States Congress, including the Senate, which has the power of declaring war, made a pseudo-declaration of war. And I say pseudo because it wasn't quite a declaration of war, but it was a de facto declaration of war, especially against a non-state actor of Al-Qaeda and its affiliates and other elements. Like if it changed its name, we were still at war with it. We couldn't just, do a head fake and, we're now ISIS. Because what was ISIS's earlier name? Or ISIL or Daesh, as people want to call it. It was Al-Qaeda in Iraq. After they got driven out of Iraq, they called themselves the Islamic State. So that we are declared war. What do you do with people you capture on the battlefield? You put them in prisoner of war camps. How long can you hold them? For the duration of the war. Now, yes, quite possibly, for the Islamic fundamentalists, the war will go on for our lifetimes because they're not going to sign a peace treaty. It, like I've said in some other episodes, and yeah, I'm talking modern politics briefly here. The elements of war of choices: are we fighting them in Libya? Are we fighting them in Syria? Are we fighting them in Iraq? We can choose whether to do that or not. But like I said, they attacked Paris. They've attacked New York, Washington, D.C. And I'm talking generally the Islamic fundamentalists that are at war with us, whatever group. We don't have a choice about that. We have a choice about our actions, how we deal with them, where we fight them. We can decide to deploy lots of troops or just sort of mess around with them like we are in Somalia with a few airstrikes now and again, mostly predator-type strikes and that stuff. We can choose how we're going to do it, but that we're at war with them is not a choice. So these people that are at war with us, we can hold them for the duration of the war, which de facto means forever. Now, if we're picking people up in the United States, I do think we need to have some sort of trial hearing or whatever to determine if they're actually members of Al-Qaeda. Now, if we're picking them up on the battlefield in Afghanistan or Iraq and they have an AK-47 in their hand, or they're riding in a car that says Al-Qaeda on the outside of it, or 3 of the 4 people are well determined that they're Al-Qaeda members, yeah, probably the rest of the people in the pickup truck or whatever are Al-Qaeda members. We can hold them. May not be standard jurisprudence because this is a war. Okay, now on Guantanamo Bay Naval Base, that was given to the U.S. Back that up. Was not given to the U.S. The U.S. signed a lease agreement with the Cuban government after we helped win its independence from Spain. Remember Teddy Roosevelt, San Juan Hill, the Rough Riders, all that thing. Yes, there were lots of Cubans fighting for their independence as well. But the U.S. came and had a nice war after the battleship Maine was sunk, I think in Havana Harbor. May have been an accident, probably was, but it was enough of a suspicious circumstance, and Spain did not react well to our desire to investigate it or whatever, so that caused the Spanish-American War. Cuba, and then of course the other major action happened over in the Philippines. So, and I do believe the Cuban government, yeah, some people might want to say it was a puppet of the U.S. I don't know that it was at the time. Obviously it was a government that only was free and independent because of the U.S. And the U.S. more or less stayed out of its internal affairs. Signed a lease agreement. And that's why it's legitimately a U.S. Naval base. And as you can see here, having a naval base right here, right off of Haiti, off of Jamaica, off of Curacao, and here, really gives U.S. the ability to project naval power, including a very heavy Coast Guard type presence for dealing whether it's drug smugglers or people smugglers and other things to keep the lines of shipping well observed and open for going through the Panama Canal. And until obviously recently we've had, with the failed state of Somalia, lots and lots of piracy out here that's quite well known. There's still a modest amount of piracy in this part of the world. Now mostly it's going after sporting and fishing boats and not tankers, but having the U.S. naval presence, I think if you got an honest answer from most of the governments in the region, not Cuba, but Haiti, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, this is still a Dutch possession, I believe, but most of them, they appreciate the American naval presence in that region. And to do it effectively, we need a naval base. So that's it. So I do think there were other ports, but so we've got to take this to be able to supply through Havana. Probably won't be that much of a fight. Okay, yeah. Invasion. Yes, we know you and Bhutan keep wanting to be a bit tension called to you. So you keep attacking out. Is being useful? Don't know, but okay, rolling artillery barrages. Basically perfecting a World War I tactic. Well, I want a few more of these headquarter type units. Researched. And carrier aircraft prototype has advanced. Good enough for now. Yep, we can have supplies. What you're going to do with them, don't know. Since you're not being very active. Our great war to liberate the world from freedom and prosperity. Well, yeah. Okay, we're doing one of those. Let's land in the province next to it. I know one of you said that I maybe should try moving the ships right here and individually send the divisions. I should try that sometime. Yes. Not now. Well, looks like the Cubans are reacting to us in a very big way. Bigger way than I thought, quite honestly. Okay, naval strike tactics. We're gonna let that one go. Mentioning that, I want to see what we're doing out here. Set these guys naval striking, and they were basically wiped out. There we go. These guys are flying to replace it. It's okay. Lift it up, we're not going to stay there, so we leave these. Move down the Solomon Islands there, take a few more bases. Okay, let's see. have been losing a fair amount of subs, so no, not 8, but 4. And rotor torpedoes. Now I guess we will do 8 of these. Should have done it the other order, of course. Okay, we'll do 4 naval bombers. And how are we doing? Are we? These guys, it's moving over there. The U.S. needs to be supplying that through some path, and that's what I want to try to strike at. And I sent commerce raider here. Let's see, can we raid off of Alaska? Yeah, let's see what we can catch out here. And deep battle doctrine. Nope, wrong one. The idea of deep battle doctrine, at least is my understanding of what they're talking about, is, well, blitzkrieg is obviously the, not what the Germans called it, but what everyone else sort of called it, was the idea of using, in essence, combined arms warfare, but built around a, armored maneuvering unit. But the deep battle doctrine sort of is to set up to punch through to the enemy and maneuver around in the enemy's rear, not necessarily so much hitting their combat formations, although that is part of it. It is to hit their core headquarters, if you will, as they would have been, which included their logistics capabilities, their fuel dumps, their ammunition dumps, all their supply centers, because unlike, say, the Napoleonic War era, this is a war, a mechanized war, which really came of age fully in World War I. But machines take fuel, if you will, both in the sense of gasoline for the trucks, but also bullets for the machine guns. So to keep that operating, machine gun ammo is heavy. You know, even just standard submachine gun ammo is heavy if you keep the machine guns operating all the time. So it's trucks, it's supply, it's all of that. So it's like when I thought this was just going to be a pushover action because they were out of supply, it may not necessarily mean at all that the people themselves are physically starving. It's just they've run out of bullets, or they have, 20 bullets a person or something like that, where if you can come in and overwhelm them with firepower, you're going to win. Well, the deep battle doctrine is, something that we can see when we were invading the Soviet Union and trying to create pockets and that type of thing. Part of that is the gamey element of the game. But a good chunk of it is just simply going in there, and if you destroy the behind the lines reserves for fuel for the enemy's divisions, they can't retreat, because if you don't have fuel, you can't tow your artillery pieces. The mobs of men can start walking away from the battlefield, and they can carry 100 rounds of ammo or whatever it is, and a few days worth of food, but eventually, surround them becomes senseless, because there's just nowhere for them to go effectively in a modern mechanized world. So you know, we do sort of the gamey thing of making sure every province is you know, captured, and then, you know, encircled, and then finally fight them out. In reality, it's much more, if you can go in and you find where their depots are and you hit their depots with the deep battle doctrine, it doesn't matter if they have 3 cores all here, if you've just slaughtered all their rear areas, including say slaughtered their herds of cattle or something, if you know, or whatever their food is, because all those people can't just live off the land effectively and stay together. And sure, if you don't quickly encircle and capture the troops, a portion of them will become guerrillas, and there was quite a bit of that in the Soviet Union's case. And so deep battle doctrine is the doctrine and the ability to effectively go into the enemy's rear and hit them in their supplies, as well as their command and control elements. That's also about as equally as important, because you have a battalion commander. He may really know what to do to defend and fight his battalion, and of course he's an intelligent officer and sort of knows what to do in overall strategic command. But 50 different battalion commanders not in communication with each other, not knowing what the situation is, can't make coordinated decisions. So whether to stand and fight or to retreat, or what's the retreat path, or all of that. So battalion commanders without higher authority setting up and organizing things just really fall apart. No fault of their own, and not any sort of that they are, you know, bad or incapable. It's just they don't have enough of the picture, and they're not communicating well enough with everybody else. I'm going to move the OKW to, probably Nova Scotia. They can get cold there. I know they want to stay in France, but it's just too far away. No infrastructure. Okay, we've got mountain HQs with advance. Great. Give us some more rugged terrain HQs, and okay, those are all as far forward as we can push those. And we can use some of those to occupy territories as well. Scrap metal drive, no thanks, not now. How are we doing here? It looks like they're going to break themselves on me. Well, We're going to even take these guys. And these guys. And we're going to land down here. Flank them. And I'm going to... Where are they? Gotta have some somewhere in the theater. Yeah, here we are. Shift. Use them to air supply. We are sending in supplies, aren't we? Yes, good. Move the fleet out. Jet pilot training. No, we don't need to ration coal. Long-range fighters. Which one is moving? Oh, it's that fleet. Okay. That's good. Move these guys back to here. Reduce the supply strain. We're bumping into any allied forces here. Okay, we are ashore. Attacking. Okay, we've one there. Okay, the 23rd Waffengebirgs Division der SS, Croatia number 2. This division was a complete and total utter failure. Let's see, what do they say? There were mutinies within it. It was just a mess. Pretty sure there's also another 23rd Waffen-SS division as well. I don't keep all those stuff in front of me as I'm making these videos, but because forget which one was first but broken up, but this was just another complete and total utter failure. So we'll take it though. Oh, it's on the map, yeah. Let's look at what they've assigned the quality of this unit. Yeah, I get that it's a mountain division, and they're definitely done this right by giving it very little manpower for the main brigade, because like I say, it was never really recruited up to being much, and it was a failure. I would probably, because of what I know of the division, just given it a a militia battalion as its, or militia brigade as its main unit, even though it would be a mountain unit, but just the quality of it. And I don't know that I would even give the make the artillery just regular artillery maybe, or something like that, the weaker stuff. Not that, well, I think there's multiple factors of why it was an utter failure. The biggest may be just simply that Germany was losing by this time, losing in these theaters, and there just wasn't a very good group of people to recruit from. I do, and everything was becoming more and more of a mess by that time, of course, so I think that definitely has a significant amount to do with it. Where Handschar, the other sort of Muslim Croatian unit, was rather effective. I mean, it was no great wonder division or anything like that, but it wasn't a mess. And so I think they were just pushing the, I'm just talking while we're doing this, okay, we'll put him in charge of it, pushing the recruiting pool of how many people you're going to have to want to join by trying to get another unit at a time. What's attacking? No, this is the pause because we're still in Bolivia, not Peru yet. I keep thinking we're in Peru. Capital of Peru is, of course, Lima. And my transports get there. Yep. Send them here. Figured if I put them down here, it might get invaded. Yep, production. Flotilla. Great. More that going. Oh yes, we get more HQs. Let's take out Jamaica. Okay, gun position. Twin engine airplanes have advanced. Turkey. Sure. How are we doing down here? See if we can do a good Guadalcanal action. Gun ability on the 4 engine. Light cruiser armor. I think we're just gonna let those go. Well, the Japanese are seeming to hold their own at the moment. There. Move one off the battle. Here, okay, well. Like, okay. Huge victory parade. Where did we win? Oh, off Cuba here. We're in Cuba. Okay, well. We're gonna move on to capital. And we're going to support this attack. And we're going to take Havana. Let's see. We'll probably get a surrender event once we get Havana. Cuba. Another defense research report. And a minor breakthrough, good. Like cruiser engines, fine. We'll let that continue. Come on guys, I want to get Cuba down before the end of the episode. So that next episode we can start preparing for invasions of Mexico and Florida. Window training, okay. Well, guess it's going to have to wait for the next episode for Cuba to fall. Thanks so much for viewing. Thanks for liking the videos. Do appreciate it. Please post comments. Love hearing from you. See you next time. Thanks so much for watching.